श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति स्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ॐ नारायणः परो व्यक्तात् अण्डमव्यक्तसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्त्विमे लोकाः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी। युक्ता टुगेदर युक्ताहारविहारस्य युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति युक्तः यदा विनियतं चित्तम् आत्मन्येवावतिष्ठते निःस्पृहः सर्वकामेभ्यः युक्त इत्युच्यते सदा। यथा दीपो निवातस्थः नेङ्गते सोपमा स्मृता योगिनो यतचित्तस्य युञ्जतो योगमात्मनः यत्रो परमते चित्तं निरुद्धं योगसेवया तत्र चैवात्मनात्मानं पश्यन्नात्मनि तुष्यति। सुखमात्यान्तिकं यत्तत् बुद्धिग्राह्यमतीन्द्रियं वेत्ति यत्र न चैवायं स्थितश्चलति तत्त्वतः यं लब्ध्वा चापरं लाभं मन्यन्ते नाधिकं ततः यस्मिन् स्थितो न दुःखेन गुरुणापि विचाल्यते तं विद्यात् दुःखसंयोगं योगसंज्ञितं स निश्चयेन योक्तव्यः योगो निर्विण्णचेतसा। Enough. So we finished seeing the Bhashya of Yuktahara Viharasya? Not yet? Okay. Last part is left? Yeah. Last part is left, okay. दुःखानि सर्वाणि हन्तीति दुःखः सर्वसंसार दुःखक्षयकृत् योगो भवति इत्यर्थः. So this is yogo bhavati dukkha. So we saw that. We saw what is yukta. Yukta means the one who is appropriate with regard to food, movement, and what else? And actions, whatever actions, laukika, vaidika, not overly doing everything, all in moderation, and also appropriate amounts of sleep and waking cycle. We saw all that. And then, then what is the second line, the last pada shows what is the result of this kind of a yoga practiced, this kind of a yoga where great attention is paid to all the movements, this yoga of mindfulness we can call in the 17th verse, the yoga of mindfulness when you practice, what happens is given in the last pada. This kind of a yoga, yoga here means the meditative lifestyle for which the food and movement become an integral part of the practice. So what happens to such a person is given. What happens to the practitioner of such a yoga? Yogo bhavati dukkha. Dukkham hanti iti dukkha. So hanti iti ha, like all the other short forms. Gacchati iti gaha. Hanti iti ha. In the Viveka Chudamani we says, we have an expression, sahi atmaha vinihanti asadgrahat. Asadgrahat vinihanti. Such people destroy themselves. How do they destroy themselves? It's like committing a suicide. Atmaha, atmanam swam hanti iti atmaha. So here dukkha, same kind of a thing. Hanti iti ha. So atmaha and dukkha similar here. So dukkham hanti iti dukkha. And then if supposing we would say that dukkha means what? Pain. Dukkha means difficulty. Then Vedantic meditation, meaning contemplation, takes care of pain, dukkha. So before I had knee pain. Before I meditated, I had what? Knee pain, hip joint pain. All these pains I had. Then because I did nididhyasana, focused on the Atma as myself and relived all the teachings of the Upanishad in a meditative state, when I woke up, what? Ready to run a marathon. This should not be the interpretation. That's why dukkham hanti, dukkha is explained by Adi Shankara is sarva samsara dukkham. The dukkha of samsara is different from knee pain, hip pain, head pain, etc. Because these kinds of aches and pains are what? Born of what? Prarabdha. Prak arabdham karma. Prak means what? Jnanat prak. This we have to see. Prak means before the arising of the knowledge, before understanding that I am Atmajnani, before understanding that whatever was there that has to be endured. That is what prarabdha is. Before the gain of the knowledge, whatever came, I have to endure. And so that is there for ajnani as well as jnani. What's the difference? Jnani doesn't say, I have prarabdha, oh poor me. This is samsara dukkha. See, there is an overlay. First there is cake, prarabdha. It is usually in the form of an ache. See, silent, okay? It's not cake, it's ache. And then on top of that you put the icing and personalize it. Why me? This is my pain. Why I am being subjected to this pain? This is samsara dukkha. So, it is not, see, like a lot of new age people. New age is another philosophy, another contemporary Purva Pakshi is new age person who says that we are all God. So therefore what? There should be no pain, no sorrow, nothing. And then when they get afraid, get upset, then they say, oh, this is terrible, why is this happening to me? This is what they say. So therefore we have to make this differentiation, that for our jnani, the Vedantic meditator, and who is the nididhyasana person, and the jnani who has atma jnanam, for such a person knee pain will be there. Vedanta jnanam does not remove back pain, knee pain, front pain, side pain, all the pains will be there. What does it remove? That I am subject to pain iti notion, it will remove. So that itself is a very big notion. Then the pain becomes objective. There are two components of every difficulty and every pain. First component is the subjective component called samsara dukkha by Adi Shankara. The other one is objective component, which is because of karma, whatever the reason may be, it is there. Because of the abuse of free will on part of some other person, all that. And so therefore here the samsaric pain goes away, meaning the subjective overlay that I have over the difficulties in my life, feeling sorry for myself, feeling abandoned, feeling upset, all that goes away. And therefore what is left is just the objective pain. For that there will be some upayas will be there, surgery is there, you can choose to go along with it or not, and pain medications are there. All these things are there, of very many varieties of medications are there, modalities, Ayurveda, homeopathy, all these things are there. And so therefore it is sarva samsara dukkha kshaya krit. Kshaya means apakshaya. It totally is wears out the welcome that we have given to samsara, because by straightening our view, straightening the view of the jnani. Yeah, the ajnani had a certain view, but then becoming a jnani is also removing, what is that called? Viparita bhavana, oppositional understanding, oppositional feelings are being removed. And so therefore what is here? What is here is subjective pain, which is worse than objective pain. That subjective pain is taken away. And this was told even earlier. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkha agamapaino nityaha tanstikhasva bharata titikshasva. Yeah. So matra and sparsha, meaning the sense organs and the organs of action will always be there, and they are cognizing Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, etc. Second chapter, 16th verse. 14th verse, okay. So, second chapter, 14th verse. So, Matra, Sparshaha, then, so they are there, and what are they, what do they reveal? Shita, Ushna, difficulty, happiness, happy sensation, difficult sensations. And then what are they? Agamapainaha, nitya, anityaha. They are not nitya. Who is nitya? The observer of them is nitya. The rest of them are what? Coming and going, coming and going. And what should we do with that? Titikshasva. Hey Bharata, titikshasva, just be the observer. This too shall pass, should be the mantra. Anything, any difficulty that happens, say it cannot remain forever, because what is forever? I am forever. The difficulty will come, difficulty will go. That is all it will do. Difficulties will come, difficulties will go. I am the one that is forever. So the anityaha they are, and agamapayinaha they are. Agamapayin means that which is coming and going. Yes. So then agamapayin, that which has the quality of coming and going. Agama and apaya is there for which, that is called agamapayin. And then so when we look at it like that, that itself is a meditation. So dukkhani sarvani hanti iti dukkhaha. And then Adi Shankara qualifies that. Sarva samsara dukkha kshayakrit. Sarva samsara dukkhani. What does it do? Kshayam karoti iti kshayakrit. That which removes, which destroys all the dukkha. Then atha adhuna kada yukto bhavati iti uchyate. So the next verses are very beautiful. It's the culmination of this Vedantic meditation in the form of Nididhyasana. And the word yukta has an abiding presence in all over Gita, and the most recurrences of the word yukta will be in the 6th chapter. Lots of verses talk about yukta, yuktasya, and yuktaharasya, etc. And so this yukta is a important word, which means the one who is together, the one who has accomplished something. And so this yukta, how does one become? When does one become? The following verses will show that it is said. So yada viniyatam chittam. Chittam antahkarana. Viniyatam. Viniyatam means nicely trained. Visheshena niyatam viniyatam. Nicely trained, properly trained, disciplined. And then when the chitta is viniyata, then what happens? It naturally goes and sits, learns to sit with itself. The antahkarana is subdued, is nicely trained, and then what does it do? It learns to abide in itself. These are big words, but we will explain them. Abide in itself means what? When you sit with yourself, you don't feel like running away. That is the idea. You don't suddenly want to look here, look there, go behind that, go behind here, find out what's happening here or there, and restless enough, I have to get up and run around. That feeling is not there. That is called, it is abiding in itself. Atma is abiding in itself. Sve mahimni tishtati. Bhagavad chapter, 7th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad. Amahimni va. It revels in its own glory. Or not even in its own glory, in itself. Because even the word reveling in one's own glory, there is a kind of a subjective component there. This is glorious, this is inglorious, this is good, this is bad. No such thing. Sve mahimni tishtati, because Narada asked the question from Sanat Kumara, Kasmin tasya pratishtha, where is it established? Where is this bhuma? Where does it live? Where do I meet it? Where is it established? It's established in its own glory or not. This one very beautiful teaching here, because glory again for us is a subjective word. It's established in its own glory. Sve mahimni tishtati. Mahima means glory. Or amahimni va nava. Or it doesn't stay in its own glory, because the own glory again is something we have to see in the beginning. For the person who doesn't have this jnanam, I have something that is called glory. Now I have to abide in my own glory. That itself becomes very confusing. And so therefore, either glory or no glory, it doesn't matter. We are putting the word glory because Atma is glorious and we want that glory. But for the person who already has that glory, it doesn't make any difference at all. It doesn't make any difference. It's like, it's like being oneself alone, and whatever that self is, I already am. There is no valuation of that self. And so, yada viniyatam chittam, then what happens? Atmani eva avatisthate, abides in itself. Abides in itself means it is calm enough to stay and not want to run around. In the beginning, nididhyasana, the contemplation, the practice of contemplative Vedantic meditation becomes a chore. How long I have to do this? One asks. How long I have to say Aham Brahmasmi? How long I have to understand that I am everything, I am whole, I am limitless? Because in the beginning, when one is doing it, still the chitta is not vinayata. It is given away to every other thing. Oh no, I can't keep doing this. I have other things to do. I have phone calls to return. I have to go somewhere. I have to do something. All these things, thoughts come. That's why, ashram life and ashram listening is different from online Vedanta life and online listening. In online listening, I know that the teacher is not looking at me to see if I leave the room or not. And then will somebody find, even if the teacher is looking in the book, there will be, and everybody else also is looking in the book, somebody will be there who sees that you have left. Okay, so at least for that reason, one continues to sit. But here, in online, there is no such thing. There are no such, either there is no peer pressure and there is no, commitment, because the commitment from oneself is still fledgling baby commitment. It is not fully there. And so one can suddenly get up and go. But this kind of Shravanam makes it, so we have what is called a captive audience, whether you like it or not. So that's why everybody says what? I am an inmate of the ashram. When else is the word inmate used? Exactly. So even though both the gates are open, front gate is open, back gate is open, you are free to go, you are free to come, still one classifies oneself as what? Inmate. Inmate means there is a certain, everybody knows, there is a certain commitment. That's why there is inmate. Antevasin is the Sanskrit word for inmate. Antevasin, the one who stays with the teacher in the ashram, is called Antevasin. So therefore, that kind of a listening is different, because here what happens is that there are not many distractions. There are not many roles. You don't have to be son, daughter, spouse, office goer, all these things, parent. You don't have to be any of them. You can just sit here and listen, which is a very, very beautiful thing. And so therefore, when this happens, then the outside world becomes as though gone. Jagataha vismriti prayaha. Vismriti prayaha means mostly it is the object of vismriti, forgotten. Jagat is forgotten. All that is there is myself alone, and I am being with myself. That is the idea. And when does that happen? Nisprihaha sarvakamebhyaha. When all the kamas, all the desires have been evacuated. Eviction notice has been given for these tenants. What are the tenants? Various kamas. The kamas are tenants. I allowed them to a space in my heart, in my mind. Now just like the tenants in real life, they do not go away. In India, very difficult to get rid of a tenant. Very, very difficult, near impossible. Occupancy is 9/10 of ownership. So the longer they have stayed, the longer it is to get rid of them. So the kamas are like that. The longer you have entertained them, you have given them a room, and then with attached whatever, BHK. What is BHK? Bedroom, hall, kitchen. Everything is there. They have made a flat in your house, in your heart. Your heart is a multi-storied, what is that called? Skyscraper of various flats for various kamas. Now you are going to give them an eviction notice. Why? Atma has to occupy all the floors, all the flats. Not an easy job. Can a few of them stay? No. All of them have to go. This is the crux of the 6th chapter. Kamas are backed by pressure. First we say kamas must not be backed by pressure and intensity, and they have to go. And then ultimately we say what? The kamas themselves, all the kamas have to go. All means all. All doesn't mean Chhatri Nyaya. What is Chhatri Nyaya? Chatrinaha yanti. So all the people carrying chhatris are going, we may say, but then all of them may not be carrying chhatris, because we are seeing from top, it looks like everybody has an umbrella, but in between 3 umbrellas there might be one person sneaking in without umbrella, using the umbrella of this one and that one, going there. Possible, but it's not like that. Here it is everyone. Each and every one of them, which is what kamas, have to be gone. And nisprihaha. Nisprihaha means where there is no trishna, where there is no wanting. And then what happens? Sarvakamebhyaha yuktaha iti uchyate. Such a person is called the one who is a great yogi, yuktaha, the one who is together with herself, himself. That is the yogi. Now, before we go further, we have to see that there is a very big difference between Vedantic meditation and Vedantic contemplation and Yoga Sutras meditation and contemplation. Yoga itself is a system of philosophy with very big differences between this, and yoga comes under Dvaita philosophy. Only when there is samadhi, there is brief Advaita, that's all. Otherwise it is a Dvaita philosophy. And for us, what do we say? Even without having a physical experience of thoughtlessness, what is there? We are always in samadhi. Thinking about Anatma, what are you? In samadhi. How? Because what is there? Is there such a thing called Anatma? No. No such thing exists that is called Anatma. Everything is what? Atma, Atma alone. Matsthani sarva bhutani. Everything is me alone. Everything is as though centered on me alone. The whole Jagat is not separate from me. And then if you want to say whole Jagat is not separate from Bhagavan to begin with, that's also okay. Because in the beginning that me is not understood, so we take recourse to Bhagavan. We have an interim reality. First we say everything is Bhagavan. And this is expressed in the adage, Yatra yatra mano yati, tatra tatra tava pada pankajam. Wherever the mind goes, O Lord, O Goddess, there are your lotus feet. Wherever the mind falls, that is your feet. So the mind fell on what? A monkey. That is, what is that? Feet of Bhagavan. That is as good as Bhagavan. Mind fell on a pickpocket. That is also Bhagavan. So I Bhagavanize the universe. I Ishwarize the universe. That is the first step. And then that was what was done in chapter 3, 4 and 5. And now in chapter 6 we go to the second step. What is that? Wherever the mind goes, it is myself alone. And I am with myself, therefore, wherever the mind goes. And so that is expressed like this, Yatra yatra mano yati, tatra tatra samadhayaha, drigdrishya viveka. The verse from the drigdrishya viveka. Something galite, something dvaite galite, something like that is there. And then when the dvaita is gone, dvaita abhimane galite, and then being established, svatmani yatra yatra manoyati tatra tatra samadhayah dehabhimane galite. Dehabhimane galite. Galite means when it has melted. What has melted? Dehatma buddhi. I am deha. So deha atma eva iti buddhi. Dehabhimane galite. And then when this sarvatma bhava is gained, I am atma iti buddhi, my body is atma iti buddhi is gone, and then prapte, so when the sarvatma bhava is gained, yatra yatra mano yati tatra tatra samadhayah. Wherever the mind goes, it's a samadhi. So this is Vedantic contemplation, meaning you are never away from the Atma. Even when you are thinking of something mundane, you are still with Atma. What is the problem? You do not know it. Before, you did not know it, now you know it. That's the only difference. Whereas for yoga people, Yoga Shastra, what does it say? In order to be with oneself, you have to be in a thoughtless state. Thoughts take you away from yourself, because thoughts are anatma centric. So Atma, if you want to have samadhi, you have to stop thinking fully. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. That's the second Yoga Sutra. Atha yoga anushasanam, and then second one, yogas chitta vritti nirodha. This is the second sutra. And so chitta vrittayah, the thoughts in the mind, nirodha, the stoppage of the thoughts in the mind, the stopping of all the thoughts in the mind. And in fact, Pujya Swamiji did take Yoga Sutras, but from the standpoint of what? Vedanta. Vedantic understanding of Yoga Sutra is something else, very beautiful. This is what the 6th chapter is all about. This is Samadhi Pada. This is the essence of the Samadhi Pada of the Yoga Sutra here in the 6th chapter. And when you look at it from the standpoint of Veda, it is very beautiful. So Pujya Swamiji would explain Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha as discipline, not stopping. Disciplining of the thoughts is yoga, is samadhi. So therefore here also in this verse and in the subsequent verses, what we are talking about is completely different from whatever we know or however we have interpreted this far the study of Yoga Sutras. This has nothing to do with Yoga Sutra. This has to do with the practice of contemplation, which is the contemplation of Atma Swarupa as it is given in the Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, etc. So bringing those mantras to mind, and if one doesn't remember the mantras, then what does one bring to mind? Their essence. The translation of that you bring to mind, doesn't matter, it's the same thing. And so with this caveat, let us see, we can look at that. Okay. So then Bhashya. Yada viniyatam chittam visheshena niyatam sanyatam ekagratam apannam chittam. Chittam he doesn't explain because he has done that before. Antahkaranam, he says. Antahkaranam. So, antahkaranam, when the mind, buddhi, emotions, ahankara, all of them are viniyatam. Niyatam, disciplined. Viniyatam, properly disciplined. Visheshena niyatam, fully disciplined, completely disciplined. Visheshena means taking special effort in that area to discipline. Visheshena, specifically disciplined. And then samyutam, when it comes together. Samyutam means what? Ekagratam apannam, when it has gained single pointedness of mind. Focus it has gained. It's able to stay, the mind is able to stay with itself without really needing to run around anywhere, even mentally, forget physically. So even mentally it's not having another prapancha, which Panchadashikara calls as Manorajya. The internal prapancha is called Manorajya, the kingdom of the mind. And if it's a kingdom of the mind, you can keep on expanding it. Without Ashwamedha Yaga, you can keep on expanding it, because wherever you go, there you are. Wherever you think, there you have already gone. You can sit here and go to moon and come back. You can sit here, go to Mars and come back. And so therefore there is absolutely no limit to where all it can roam. But here now it has been properly trained by the vision of Vedanta, and trained also by the sadhana called meditation. And so because of that, what happens? It is quiet. There is a certain tranquility. There is a quietude. It's not restless to go here, go there, get this, get that. All that is gone. And then what does it do? It's hitva bahya chintam atmani eva kevale avatishthate Svatmani sthitim labhate iti artha. Yeah. So hitva means losing. Losing what? Bahya chinta. Bahya chintam hitva. Losing, chinta here is not worry. Chinta simply means thoughts. Losing thoughts unconnected to the vritti here. What is the vritti? Atmakara vritti, Brahmakara vritti, also called Akhandakara vritti. All these three words are what? One and the same. So this, in the Shravanam stage, this was produced, the Brahmakara vritti, the Atmakara vritti, different from what? Vishayakara vritti, was produced in the Shravanam setting, transmitted by the teacher, handled by the teacher. The pramana was converted into Akhandakara vritti, the vritti of oneness. Thought of oneness pervades the entire mind in the Shravanam situation. When Atma Jnanam is being transmitted, this is what happens. That's why there is already a certain quietude. Sometimes you don't even know the passage of time. And sometimes you are just lost in that, and then you come back and say, oh my God, oh, this is what this Jnanam is. Or it can, or even at the simplest level, it could be like a aha, like a what is called aha moment. So whether it's a small aha moment, or it's a sajatiya vritti pravaha of atmakara vrittayah, or vritti of oneness, whether it's a long-standing experience of that vritti of oneness, understanding of that vritti of oneness, which is generated in the teaching situation with the teacher and student studying, this Atmakara vritti alone gives rise to the removal of ajnanam. That is what is responsible for the removal of ajnanam. This Atmakara vritti, Akhandakara vritti, this vritti, mental formation of oneness. So the oneness is communicated by the teacher, of course using the Shastra, the Pramana, and then in the mind it is there. And since the object of oneness is verily the subject I, then there is no phala vyapti needing to take place. There is only vritti vyapti. What is vritti vyapti? The vritti floods the mind. The vritti floods the antahkarana. In the same way, we also have, what is this called? Pot. So if I say pot, the shown pot, the seen pot also floods the antahkarana. Even before I picked up the pot, if I had said pot, pot vritti, various ishta pots, big pot, small pot, gold pot, green pot, yellow pot would have flooded the antahkarana. When I say this is pot, there is an adjustment needing to be made. What is that adjustment? In comparison to what that is shown, there is a certain adjustment. Then only I can say, Janami iti, I know this pot. This pot has been objectified for me by me, I can say. So, in the cognition of all worldly objects, that there is a two-part operation. One is vritti vyapti, similar to oneness vritti, same thing. So, similar to the knowledge of Brahman, where the potakara vritti, ghatakara vritti floods the mind. And then there should be the mind as though goes with the help of the sense organs. The mind blesses the sense organs to go and get information about that particular pot, that object, bring back the information to the mind to get that second operation which clinches the knowledge or the cognition of the pot. The second operation is called phala vyapti. This is a pot. So, janami iti, I know this pot, I can say. First is, this is a pot, and then second is, I know this pot. This pot has become a fact for me. Whereas, in akhandakara vritti, in atmakara vritti, brahmakara vritti, what is there? Only vritti vyapti is available. Because phala vyapti is not possible. Why? Atma is not an object. So phala vyapti is not possible. And before you start mourning, oh no phala vyapti for me, please know that phala vyapti is not needed, because the object in question is what? You, the subject. And so you being self-evident Atma already, all that is needed is the vritti that spirits away the ignorance, which is the vritti of Atma as Brahman. And so therefore this akhandakara vritti takes place in the teaching situation in the first stage, which is called Shravanam. Then when one does nitidhyasanam, one has enough expertise with the knowledge to generate the atmakara vritti by oneself while sitting quietly. How is this generated? Same way it was generated in the classroom setting in the Shravanam stage. How was it generated? With the teacher saying, Aham Brahmasmi, and explaining what is Aham, what is Brahma, and how you are Brahman, Tattvamasi. And all these Mahavakyas, Prajnanam Brahma, Etat Vaitat, that is also Mahavakya, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So all these Mahavakyas, when the teacher explained, it went in because I understood the meaning of each and every one as referring to who? The object was who? The subject, myself. So now the teacher is no longer there, no longer needed, because the knowledge has taken place, but it is full of some vagueness, some kind of a doubt, or some kind of a hesitancy in owning up the knowledge, some kind of a, what is that, jiva bhava is still remaining. So therefore nididhyasanam is prescribed, and in this nididhyasanam I reproduce an entire class for myself. This is nididhyasanam. I take a sentence of the Upanishad. What kind of sentence? A sentence that I know, that I have been taught. And so, if I just sit without the sentence, only Jivakara Vritti will come. I don't know this, I don't have this, I don't. So, from Jivakara Vritti, I have to go to Brahmakara vritti, big leap. So therefore, I sit and have a private class by myself for myself. This is called nididhyasanam, generating or regenerating, repeatedly generating what? Shastra anukula. It has to be in keeping with the Shastra. It cannot just sort of, I can't just sort of say, I am going to come up with my own Mahavakya. Please do not do that, okay? Because there are plenty of Mahavakyas. You don't need to come up with your own Mahavakya. And so, those Mahavakyas, if you understand, it is big plenty and you will never run out of Mahavakyas. There are that many Upanishads, that many Mahavakyas in each Upanishads are there. And so, therefore, so you make yourself a class. You make yourself a whole class where you repeatedly see. You take up one sentence and you unfold that for yourself, just like the teacher had unfolded it to you year after year after year. So this is what you do for yourself. This is what is called nididhyasanam. And so from Jiva Bhava, I go to Brahma Bhava. In the beginning, it is deliberate, it is forced, and then one feels like looking at the clock. Okay, how much time have I been sitting? So just like when first one comes to Vedanta, there is a lot of clock looking that is going on. Yes. So it is not Atma Vikshanam, it is what? Clock-a-Vikshanam, yes. So, one is keeping on looking at the clock and then feeling, why is the time not going? Ye class kab khatam hoga? When will this finish? But then, as you start enjoying it, as the Atmakara vritti pervades the mind, then you don't even know when the class has finished. And then you suddenly come back to Jiva Bhava. So here the idea of nididhyasana is to always be in which bhava? Jiva Bhava or Atma Bhava? Atma Bhava, Brahma Bhava. So therefore, first deliberately I reproduce the Brahma Bhava, Brahmakara vritti. I keep on reproducing with the help of the Mahavakyas and other teachings in the Upanishad. Other teachings in the Upanishads I can take those sentences, and then sometimes you can have a little upasana for yourself, and from there you can go to this and what is that? Like this. Angushthamatrah Purushah Madhye Atmani Tishtati. This is a visualization. You can do that. Angushta Parimana, the size of the thumb. You can't have Vishwarupa sitting in the heart. You'll have panic. So that is to be avoided by what? By making a baby Purusha, baby Bhagavan Akara. You make and always put it in the right chest cavity because it's empty. Left chest cavity, what is there? Heart is there. Yeah. So don't go there. Put it on this side and you can visualize. So, but then you move to another level. What is that? Ishanaha bhuta bhavyasya gyatva na vijigupsate etat vaitat. This is a very beautiful verse for meditation, contemplation. So in the beginning, you can help yourself to a visualization, but the visualization of Bhagavan as a thumb-sized Bhagavan is not the point of this meditation. What is the point? To see this Bhagavan as Ishanaha, as the Lord of what? The past. And Bhavya, the future. Ishano bhuta bhavyasya ishanaha, to see this Bhagavan as the one who is the Lord of the past and present and the future and Lord of time. If Bhagavan is the Lord of time, what is that then? That means I am non-separate from Bhagavan and I am timeless. I am timeless, like this. And then, so these kinds of baby visualizations that lead to understanding I am the truth of now. I am timeless, therefore I am Amrita. Amrita means deathless. All these are the abidance in Brahmakara vritti. And then that vritti, when it no longer becomes a vritti, but it becomes what? Vritti, another meaning, your own livelihood. You are always in that. That is called Brahmanishtha. Brahmajnani who has Brahmajnana Nishtha. So Jnana Nishtha means Nitaram Sthitihi, even non-deliberately, naturally I am in Brahmakara vritti always. So Hitva Bhakya Chintam. So Bhakya Chintanam Hitva, taking away all the outside, what is that, small and big problems, and small and big, what is that called? Preoccupations. Chinta here is preoccupation, taking care of all of them. Atmani eva avatishthate. Svatmani sthitim labhate. Atmani eva avatishthate. So, there is a way. Atmani eva avatishthate abides only in the Atma through the Mahavakya. The Mahavakya becomes the asana of abidance, becomes the bridge through which I abide. Now, there is one word here, Kevale. Kevale Atmani. So, very beautiful word. So, Kevale means in the Atma, that is only thing that is there. So, we can also take it as only in the Atma, abiding only in the Atma and not in anything else, or we can take it as what? In the Atma, that is only. So, both ways we can take. There is room for that kind of an understanding. Very beautiful word, Kevala, Kaivalya. So, Kevale Atmani avatishthate. Avatishthate abides. Naturally, the outside world as a prescription of happiness, prescription of fulfillment starts to fade. The outside world has no use. Kadali stambhavat nissaraha, as Adi Shankara said in Kathopanishad, it has no use, it has no purpose, it has no connection to me at all. This is a very difficult thing, because on the one hand we are saying the outside world is also what? Brahman, Atma. But now here I have to push aside the outside world in order to come back to myself. Why is that? It's not that you are pushing aside the outside world, you are pushing aside the subjective valuation that you have given to the outside world. There is a difference. There is no need to push aside the outside world. At least in Vedantic Nididhyasana, in Yoga Shastra it's different. The outside world is seen as an enemy to Nididhyasanam. Here it is not inimical to Nididhyasanam. It is very much, the outside world is there. But I bring back the focus to myself. When I am established in myself, the outside world cannot create problems for me. Actually speaking, really speaking, even before Atmajnanam, it's not the outside world that is giving problems. What is giving problem? My own wrong interpretation of the outside world based on what? My raga dveshas that are giving the problem. Even before I gain this knowledge, the outside world is Brahman. So whether I see it as Jagat or whether I see it as samsara depends upon my limitations. So the outside world cannot come in as a source of pain and sorrow if I understand this much. What should I understand? Everything is Ishvara. Then later on everything is Atma. So the outside world cannot come in the way of my gaining jnanam. Even a jnani has to remain where? In the outside world alone. So Svatmani, Sva-atmani sthitim labhate, gains abidance in the self. And then further, nisprihaha sarvakamebhyaha. That's the moolam. Nisprihaha sarvakamebhyaha. What is that? Nirgata drishta drishta vishayebhyah spruha trishna yasya yoginah saha. Yeah. So nispriha means nirgata spriha yasmat. Generally we would say like that. Nirgata spriha yasmat nispriha. Spriha means desire. Nirgata has departed. From whom the desire has departed. This is just a clean vichheda vigraha of nispriha. So, but then here, because it's in the context of nididhyasana, Adi Shankara adds a few things to talk about, to describe what kind of spriha is not there. So, what spriha means? Desires, ichha. So, what kind of spriha is not there? Drishta plus adrishta. Drishta spriha means seen things, known things. Even if you haven't seen, you may know it. So, known things, desire for known things. You haven't seen it, but you know it. There is a place, you know it, valley of flowers. You haven't seen it, but you know it. So, shruta, shruta, we have to bring in all the karanas we have bring in. Experienced, not yet experienced, known, and then unknown, seen, unseen, and then seen, unseen. Typical way of saying it is because to include afterlife, swargadi. So the adrishta means what? Swargadi. It is known, because otherwise how can you have a desire for an unknown thing? Can you desire something you don't know? Never. So it is known, but it is not seen. Seen means not experienced, yet to be experienced. So drishta typically means iha mutra. Drishta, iha, and then adrishta, amutra. Amutra means elsewhere. Drishta means placed here or elsewhere. Elsewhere could also mean in a foreign land. Elsewhere also could mean hereafter, after death also. Asmin janmani, janmantareva. Whatever objects of spriha are there, nirgata means for whom it is that longing to go to those places, to have those things is gone. Why? Because this Chandogya Vakya's meaning has been well ascertained. Chandogya Shruti says, Yadyatha iha punyachito lokakshiyate tat tatha amutra yadyatha ita karmachito lokakshiyate tat tatha amutra punyachito lokakshiyate eva. So yadyatha iha, just as here means what? In this jagat, here in this world, what happens? Punya karmachitaha lokaha kshiyate. Kshiyate is exhausted. What? Karmachitaha lokaha. So any loka gained, loka here punya, any punya gained in any loka here is experience also. Any experience that is gained here is what? Lost here. Because the means of gaining are finite. The karma that is expended to gain that particular loka or that particular experience is finite. So, karma chitaha lokaha yatha iha kshiyate. Just like here, the world of karma gets destroyed because it is finite. Tat tatha, in the same way, amutra, elsewhere. Elsewhere means in other loka. Punyachitaha lokaha kshiyate apicha. In other worlds also, you have earned good karma and gone there. What is that? Punyachitaha. Punyaihi chitaha. Gathered through punya, good karma. Here also, the world of karma dissipates. Here also karma dissipates. Elsewhere also, all the karma which has transferred itself to punya, that also what happens to it? Dissipates. And so this they have understood. Who? These jnanis who are sitting to meditate. This itself is a wonderful nididhyasana. How the world of karma just falls apart, whether it is here or elsewhere. So therefore, drishta drishta vishayebhyah, for objects, vishayebhyah, objects. Why are they called objects? Vishinoti badhnati iti vishayaha. Vishinoti means that which binds is called vishayaha. So these vishayas, these objects which bind, are the same here and elsewhere. And so, drishta drishta vishayebhyaha, for all experiences, seen, unseen, whether they are here or somewhere else, spruha yoginaha yasya nasti, for which yogi that kind of a longing is not there. Spruha means trishna, craving. That craving is not there for whom? Saha yuktaha, that person is together. Samahitaha, ya samahitaha iti uchyate tada tasmin kale. Yeah, so samahitaha means resolved, totally resolved. In what? In the truth of oneself as I, aham, Brahman. So when there is Brahma drishti, then drishta drishta vishaya become completely gone. How do you get Brahma drishti? Not like the drishti of something or the other. It is not an object. The Brahma drishti, the Brahma darshanam is in the form of the understanding that everything that is here is Brahman. Everything that is here is non-separate from I alone. In that understanding, all the cravings for this small objects and gains go away, because Brahman being everything, when that Brahman is understood as I, the longings and the cravings have no purpose at all, because I am reveling in the truth of myself. Tasya yoginaha samahitam yat chittam tasya upama uchyate. To illustrate this further, the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna gives a upama. What is upama? Simile. A comparison is given, and a comparison is given to what is that? To internalize this understanding. How does this steadfastness of mind, how does it come about? What is it comparable to is given here. So the upama is very beautiful. It is the upama of a lamp that is protected from strong winds. So strong, of course, some wind we need for the lamp, some oxygen is needed. So it's not a lamp that is protected from atmosphere completely, because it will go out if oxygen is not needed. So therefore, sometimes what do? We have a lamp, over that we put a glass tube. And then what happens? The high winds coming this way and that do not affect the lamp. So yatha, in which manner, deepaha, a lamp, nivatasthaha. So nivata pradeshe sthitaha, nivatasthaha, meaning it is in a place without a strong wind. So where there is no wind or very little wind is there, and it is not shaken by that wind. Na ingate. In gatau, one dhatu is there, but this is ing chalane, moving, quivering. Everything is there, everything is connotated by ing. That's also gatyarthe only. So na ingate, ne ingate. So this is a to show that it's a classic example, it is given here. Sa upama smrita. This upama is being remembered by who? By Bhagavan himself. Bhagavan is remembering this because in the Upanishads also there is a what is that called? This idea is given across. So it's a common upama for all the people of knowledge. All the jnanis know this upama. Smrita. Smrita how? Tattvadarshibihi smrita. Upama, by the people who know this truth, who know the vision, who are avid nididhyasana practitioners and who all know this vision, by them this upama smrita remembered. Remembered means cited. Cited, meaning what? It is in other smritis also, it must be there. This upama must be there in the smritis, therefore it is called smrita, cited. So, yatha deepaha nivatastha deepaha. So, nivatastha deepaha means a lamp that is placed in a place which is free of strong winds. And na ingate, does not quiver, does not jump around, does not, na chalati ityarthaha. Sa upama smrita. This kind of an example is cited by people who have the vision of how the mind works and where one can gain, how to gain samadhi from this with atma tattva be resolved in the mind, that upama smrita. And for the yogi, yoginaha, sixth case, for the yogi who is what? Yatachittaha, qualifying the word yogi, yatachittasya yoginaha. So, yatachittasya yoginaha, for the one who has trained himself, herself, for that yogi. Who is this yogi? Atmanaha yogam yunjataha. All these are qualifications for this yogi. So, Atmanaha yogam yunjataha yoginaha yatachittasya yoginaha. So, this is compared to this yogi. Who is this yogi? Yatachittaha, with a trained antahkarana. Who is what? Yunjataha, absorbed, practicing what? Atma yoga. What is Atma yoga? The Atma yoga is nididhyasana, is the teaching of the self that is recalled in the meditation. So, for the yogi, practicing Atma Yoga, nididhyasana, in the form of being absorbed in the teachings of the self and recalling the teachings of the self, being absorbed in that oneness vritti, brahmakara vritti, that yogi is compared to a windless lamp with a steady flame. Just like the flame doesn't flicker, the yogi's antahkarana, the mind, etc., does not move from object to object. It is steadily with the subject. That is the idea. The Bhashya we'll see tomorrow. More we'll see. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah.